First thing we have to know is why do we use present simple? We can use present simple to talk about activities we do regularly in present. For example, I go to school every day. And we can use present simple to talk about general truth in life. For example, the sun rises every day. This is a fact. You know that and you can deny that. And last thing, to talk about permanent situations. For example, my dad works in a hospital. He can't change that now or for the short period. So we have to use present simple to talk about permanent situations. There are many time expressions. Let us know if we have to use present simple. Time expressions go at the beginning or at the end of a sentence. For example, every day, every month, every year. Once a day, which means one time in the day. Once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year. Twice, which means two times. Twice a day, twice a week, twice a month, twice a year. Three times a day, or week, or month, or year. A period in the day, like in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, and at night. And frequency indicators like always, usually, often, sometimes, and never. Like today, like on Monday, on Thursday, like in July, in August. Now, how can we form the present simple affirmative? For the subject pronouns I, you, we, they, and plural nouns like my friends, we have to use the infinitive verb, which means the verb in the base form. Like I work, you work, we work, they work, my friends work. But with he, she, and it and singular nouns, we have to add s, and in some situations we can add es. Like he works, she works, it works, my dad works, Adam works. Here are some examples. I get up at 7 every morning. I wash my face and hands every day. They have breakfast at 7. You brush your teeth twice a day. Notice here the main verb in the red color is the infinitive or the base form without any addition. As we said, after he, she, it, and the singular nouns, we have to add s to the main verb like run, runs, read, reads. And if the verb ends with e, we also have to add only s. Like smile, smiles, write, writes. But if the verb ends in y, we have two situations. The first one is if the verb ends in a vowel, then followed by y, the vowel is a strong letter, can keep the y in the verb when the s enter the verb. So we have only to add s to the verb without changing anything. Like play, plays, pay, pays. The second situation is when the verb ends with a consonant letter, then followed by y. The consonant is a very weak letter and can't protect the y. So we have to replace the y with I and then add es. Like study, studies, cry, cries. If the verb ends in one of these letters, which are O, SS, SH, CH, X, or Z, we have to add ES at the end of the verb, like go, goes, mess, messes, wash, washes, watch, watches, relax, relaxes, spreads, spreads. Here are some examples. He gets dressed at 7 every morning. He often goes to school every day. She teaches lessons every day. He usually studies English in the evening. In the negative form of present simple, we use do and does before the main verb with not. But when we can use don't and when we can use doesn't. We use don't with I, you, we, they. For example, I don't cry. You don't cry. We don't cry. They don't cry. We use doesn't with he, she, it. For example, he doesn't cry. She doesn't cry. It doesn't cry. Notice here we didn't change the main verb or add anything s or es because the helping verb doesn't has the es in it. So in the negative form we don't change the verb. Examples: I don't shave every morning. They don't play football every week. He doesn't have a shower every day. He doesn't draw a sun today. To form yes or no questions, we use do and does. We use do with I, you, we, they. For example, do I study? Do you study? Do we study? Do they study? We use does with he, she, it. For example, does he study? Does she study? Does it study? Notice here the main verb without any changing. So, in interrogative or yes or no question form, we don't change the verb. Examples with short answers. Does he sleep early? Yes, he does. No, he doesn't. Do you go home at 2 p.m.? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Does she comb her hair? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Do they dance after school? Yes, they do. No, they don't. We use adverbs of frequency when we talk about habits or when we want to say how often something happens. The adverbs of frequency are never, sometimes, often, usually, always. Notice here the word order between the adverbs of frequency and the verbs. With the main verb, the adverbs of frequency comes before the verb. But with the verb to be, the adverbs of frequency comes after the verb to be. So, how can we ask about frequency? What type of question can we use to know how many times something happens? We can use how often. So, how often means I want to know the frequency or I want to know how many times something happens. For example, how often do you brush your teeth? I want here to know how many times do you brush your teeth? Is it every day? Is it every weekend? Is it every morning? Is it every evening? Or you can give me a number, which can be once a day, which means one time, or twice a day, which means two times, or three times a week, three times a month, etc.